Good morning, Westline 7th graders. Today's iLearn standard focus is Algebra and Functions 7AF3. Solve inequalities of the form P times X plus Q, which is less than or equal to or less than R, where P, Q, and R are specific rational numbers. Represent real-world problems using inequalities of these forms and solve such problems. Graph the solution set of the inequality and interpret it in the context of the problem. Today's question, an inequality is shown. Negative 3x plus 4 is greater than 37. What is the solution to this inequality? Before you begin answering your questions, let's talk a little bit about the testing environment again. The iLearn is a little different than iStep in the past, and it may or may not have a time limit the same as iStep did. So in that case, we need to be respectful to our peers that are still testing. So during a practice session or the actual session, we want to make sure that there's no talking, that we're staying seated, that there are no passes in or out of class, that you're working independently, and that when you are finished, you're not moving on until the time is up. And that may look like just sitting there quietly and waiting for others to finish. You will not be able to get out a book or get out pencil and paper to draw or to color or anything else. So part of why we're practicing this is not only to practice the questions, but also to practice the testing environment. So the time limit may not be as long as you need, or you may feel it's not long enough. And so we are not only practicing just for the questions, like I said, but we're practicing on getting ready for the testing environment. So really work on sitting quietly until the time is up and making sure you're being respectful to those that are still testing. Be sure to write down the question, show all work. You have 10 minutes. You may begin. Time is up. Let's take a look at the answer. An inequality is shown. Negative 3x plus 4 is greater than 37. What is the solution to this inequality? So to solve this, we have the original equation and then we subtract 4 from both sides. So the next step would then be to divide both sides by negative 3. And when you divide by a negative, you have to change the direction of the inequality. So our answer is x is less than negative 11. Now, you also have to graph your solution for an inequality because there is more than one answer. There's a range of values. So anything that is less than negative 11 makes this a true statement. So this is like a snapshot of the number line. So you can start at any value. It's easiest to start at the answer. So negative 11, so this would be negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, as you would get closer to 0. So this would be negative 12, negative 13, negative 14 as you get further away from 0. And since this is a less than, we make an open circle at negative 11, and then we shade everything to the left. So you can shade it in with your pencil, you can draw an arrow above the line, you can draw an arrow on the line. Any of those values of shading or ways to shade would be fine, but just to remember to keep it an open circle because it is not equal to, it's just less than. So our limit is less than.